Hi!
Hi guys, what's up? Thank you so much for watching Mostly Sane. I am Prajakta.
वो बाबा रामदेव बोलते हैं कि वेडनेसडे के दिन रिप्रोडक्शन के बारे में नहीं पढ़ते हैं.
I think a part of my brain, it's just a constant switch between extreme gratitude and like shock.
कल एग्जाम है, चुपचाप सो जा. यार कुछ इम्पोर्टेंट हुआ तो इंस्टाग्राम पे कब से इम्पोर्टेंट नोटिफिकेशन आने लगे.
For the first time, I felt like I'm lost and I'm confused.
Hello, road trip पे चले?
There are three causes that are super close to my heart. There's body positivity, girls' education, and gender equality. When a brand and a creator meet halfway through, that's an effective collaboration.
Trust me, मजा ही कुछ और है यार.
Hello and welcome to Influencer Atta. This is Karuna. Today we have with us Prajakta Kohli, someone who has helped us stay mostly sane during the lockdown with her extremely relatable content. With over 6.4 million subscribers on YouTube and 3.9 million followers on Instagram, Prajakta is one of the early content creators that our country has seen. Thank you so much for joining us today, Prajakta.
Thank you, Karuna. This is 100% my pleasure.
Prajakta, can you take us to the beginning of it all? You grew up with a singular dream of becoming a radio jockey and you turned to YouTube in 2015, right?
Yeah.
Which was considered more of a hobby then. So can you tell us about this transition?
So, yeah, I mean, you're right. I was that very over smart kid in school who knew exactly what she wanted. Like, I took a lot of pride in the fact that I had mapped my entire future out in front of me. And I took a lot of comfort also in it because I used to see all my friends stressing on, you know, I can do this also, but I want to do that also. And I never spent a single minute in, you know, ever contemplating what I want to do. The good of that was that I was focused and I knew exactly what to do and I went about it and I was never confused. But I think the downside of that was that I didn't give enough opportunities for myself to explore anything other than the one thing I wanted to do, which was become a radio jockey. When I did become a radio jockey, very quickly I realized that I am horrible at this job. I can't do it. I suck. My show sucks. It's badly rated. Nobody's listening. My bosses were not happy. So when they replaced me, I was like, you know what? I understand. If I was you, I would do the same. It's a horrible show. And at that point in time, I feel like for the first time in you know the history of my existence, for the first time, I felt like I'm lost and I'm confused. And I don't have a plan B, you know, because I was so confident about plan A. I never gave myself the liberty of even doubting that, you know, that plan even once.
Yeah.
When the opportunity to be on YouTube came by, I actually didn't start it as a hobby at all. I held on to it with dear life because I didn't have another plan, you know. And the good thing about, again, being in a position where I had no plans whatsoever, I got a redo, you know what I'm saying? Like I got a chance to start again. And this time I decided that I do not want to make concrete plans. Like I don't want to know what my future is going to be like. I don't want to plan every step for the next 5 years. And I want to take each day as it comes. So when it started off, it started very seriously. I quit everything. I quit my job at radio. I told my parents I want 1 year to figure out YouTube. If I can, then great. Otherwise, I'll go back to studying or I'll look at other jobs or I'll figure myself out. But right now, I just need a year. So I didn't look at it as a hobby at all. I looked at it as a very serious career move. And I'm glad that I did. I think it was the best decision I made.
So am I. So glad. And it worked out wonderfully for you, right? So from there to today, Prajakta, when you've recently won an Emmy for your documentary with Michelle Obama, congratulations for that. What does that feel like? How do you feel when you look back at your journey?
It is just, it's unbelievable. Like I think some part of my brain just refuses to process information like that. And I realized that's a recurring feeling. You know, I remember the first, and it's come and gone. And now I think it used to make me very uncomfortable before, but I used to be like, why can't I process this? You know, I should be jumping and screaming and, you know, partying and, you know, all of those things. But I just want to sit still and give myself 10 minutes and then get back to work. Like, why am I not able to process this? I remember the first time I spoke at Comic-Con in 2015 was a moment like that. I remember when my first song came up, Shameless, when I did my first meet and greet when my second song got played at the UN. When I did my second meet and greet, that was just a mad moment when I did the Netflix show, when I did my short film, when I spoke at forums that I used to always look up to, places that I used to find so inspiring and I used to go to for inspiration. When I got a chance to speak at places like that, then when we shot with Michelle Obama, then we got nominated and then we won. And I was just like I think when we got nominated, was my brain just shut down. I said, this is too much. I remember telling myself that, I'm just happy with the nomination. I mean, I am a simple girl who grew up in Thane, in a very middle class home. I've grown up doing things as well as I could. And, every day has been such a fun journey, and I'm going to take that as is. But an Emmy was never even in the vicinity of my thoughts. So I have prepared myself only on how to deal with something like this. So I really don't know, man. I wish I had an answer, but genuinely, I think a part of my brain, it's just a constant switch between extreme gratitude and like shock.
You have been working with a lot of global stars lately, and 2 of your films, a documentary and a short film, have been recognized globally, right? So is that a part of your plan now to expand your presence globally? Is that a part of your plan?
I mean, now it is. I didn't know that I could do it until it happened. I never thought that a film I do would ever get screened at the New York Indian Film Festival. I had not ever imagined that. When we were making Khayali Pulao, again, it's a project that's so close to our hearts. So when we were making Khayali Pulao, the only people whose reaction I was looking forward to was my existing audience. Because I knew that I have a platform where I can sort of try these new things. But the sort of response that it got, the places that it reached, was just overwhelming. I think all of that was just such a happy bonus. Even with the film, I mean, obviously, when we were doing our Creators for Change documentary with Liza Tembi, me, and Michelle Obama, we knew that this is massive. So honestly, I'm loving it. And like I said before, I'm really not sitting down jotting the next few months of my life, because for the past 6 years, more than 6 years now, every day has been different and every day has been fun, and we've had our ups and our downs. And I kind of like that. I like not having control over every single thing I do. And it's worked out beyond my imagination. So clearly I was holding myself back all these years when I was planning things for myself. So I mean, yeah, definitely, but I think I'm going to just take it as it comes.
And we absolutely believe in you, Prajakta. You can easily transcend across borders.
Thank you.
Lastly, an advice or suggestion that you would like to give to Indian brands when it comes to working with content creators?
I think collaborations are beautiful. When a brand and a creator meet halfway through, I think that's an effective collaboration, because the creator comes from the brand comes from a place of knowing their product and knowing what they want to communicate. But the creator comes from a place of knowing their audience, so they know how to communicate. And sometimes that trust from the brand to the creator and from the creator to the brand can make magic happen. I have had the pleasure of working with some of the most amazing brands in my career as a YouTuber so far. I am working so closely with P&G right now, and it is just a wonderful relationship. I really look forward to create content for them. My collaboration with, like I said, Yatra was amazing. My collaboration with me was so much fun. Inside P&G, I'm again working very closely with Gillette. And I just, these are brands that I look forward to create content with, because it's a collaboration. And you can always see the difference, because I've done a few videos where I couldn't collaborate, but it was only sponsored. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when brands don't let you take the liberty of sort of speaking about their brand in a way, sometimes it works, but again, then there are times when you fall flat. So I think collaboration makes magic happen when it comes to branded content.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you've been in this game for 6 years now, and you worked with a lot of brands. So, is there a filter that you keep in mind when brands reach out to you? Now that you have that privilege and that security to filter it out, right?
No, but honestly, I think the team and I, we've always been very, very clear about a few things that we always use brands before we speak about them. If it is a brand that I wasn't previously using, but I have actually had the pleasure of working with most brands which I use on a daily basis. I remember when Gillette came to me, they were like, I don't know if you've used our products. And I was like, one, two, that's which product you want to sell? Tell me. I said, I have everything in my closet. That again came as a very natural collaboration for me because I have very openly for years, even before Gillette came, spoken about using a razor to hair removal and stuff like that. But if there is a new brand and I like what the brand stands for, or I like the communication that's coming through the brand and it works with my ethics, then I think we'll use the brand for a few months before we speak about it. I think we've always decided that. I am a huge supporter, and one of the causes, there are 3 causes that are super close to my heart. There's a lot of things that I have the pleasure of speaking on, but these 3 things are closest to my heart. It's body positivity, girls' education, and gender equality. So if any brand in any way crosses these, I'm never going to be associated with them. And I think just having fun, just making sure that the communication is easy and simple for me to make and my audience to understand. I think these are a few filters we have in mind.
Right. Okay. So keep it real, keep it authentic.
Yeah, because also as creators and as brands, we need to understand that हमारी audience बेवकूफ नहीं है यार. They're very smart. They are 100 times smarter than me as a singular creator online. They have very valid points. They make choices of what they want to consume and how they want to consume. So don't take them for granted. Don't be like, चलो इनको देख ही लेंगे, इनको क्या पता चलेगा कि मैंने ऐसे पकड़ा हुआ है brand को. It doesn't work like that,
Yeah.
So I think giving your audience also that much credit when you're writing branded content and understanding that they're not stupid is a major filter.